Okay, can you guys 5 minutes? Don't come in the room. Okay, don't come inside, okay? Okay, you work on your homework. Hi, I'd like to go over the limits question of the bonus. I draw this small drawing right here. This drawing has some asymptotes. So those are asymptotes right here, those asymptotes right here, those asymptotes right here, there's asymptotes here, and there's horizontal asymptotes here. So there's one horizontal asymptote, two horizontal asymptote, one vertical asymptote, two vertical asymptote. Has some open circle, closed circles, and so you have to understand how this one each individual work. And so let's explain something first. It says limit as x approach to -8 to the negative sign. That means from the left side. The negative sign is means -8 from the left. And we're gonna explain that. We're gonna go through each of those questions according to those graph. And this should take no more than 10 minutes. Um, so we're gonna start going one by one, and we gotta make sure that one thing you have to understand is in order limit to work, the reach from the left has to equal reach from the right. If they come in the same point, then limit does exist. If they come in different point, that does not exist. So you're gonna see a couple cases here where limit does not exist, and you're gonna see a couple cases limit does exist. So when it doesn't exist, we're gonna put does not exist. When we see the limit's gonna go straight up or go straight down, means it's gonna go to infinity or negative infinity. And how do we justify some of the things that can be um, hard to see? So let's start with first one. Limit as x approach to -8 from the left side. So we're gonna count what -8 is. So we're gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So pretty much this asymptote. Okay, but we're gonna approach this -8 from the left side. So that means I'm coming from this side, I'm approaching -8 from the left side. So if you see this graph, it's gonna go down. So it's gonna go down according to the asymptote. So if it's gonna go down like this, that means it's gonna go to negative infinity. So here I'm gonna put my answer as negative infinity. So I'm gonna say it's negative infinity. So how many guys have problem write down infinity? Is basically just 8 sideways. And let's reach from the -8, which is right here, and we reach from the positive side. That means the right side of -8. So I'm approaching -8, but I'm approaching from the right side. You see this graph is going to go straight up. That's going to go to positive infinity. Okay, one of them is going down to negative infinity, one is going down to going up to positive infinity. Therefore, limit x approaching -8. So -8, that means you have to check from both sides. You have to check from the left side and right side. You have to make sure. If I just only ask you -8 without asking those two, then you have to go back check those two, whether they match or not. At this case, since one is going down to negative infinity, one is going down up to positive infinity, therefore limit x approaching -8 does not exist. And this is very easy, so that's why I decided to do at home. And you guys can see this much more. It's really easy to illustrate. So let's check limit x approach to one single number. So it's a -6 of f of x. This graph is f of x at -6. What happened? Okay, in this case, at -6, I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -6. If you say it's checking x to the -6, that means you have to check from the -6 from the positive side and -6 from the negative side, because they didn't address they want to go to -6 from the positive side or the negative side. Then you have to check from the both side. They have to come to the same number. If they don't, then theirs does not exist. If they come to the same number, which is in this case is open circle, which is 1, 2, 3. So it'd be -3. So in this case, it's going to be -3. Okay, so that's negative 3. So because they both reach both part to negative 3. Now, what's this one? Positive 1 value. So that's input and output. So this is the function. This is the input. Negative 6 has nothing to do with limits. Okay, negative 6 is the input to this function. So what's my output of this function? So it has nothing to do with limits. So therefore, you're going to go to 6 and see if there are any solid dots. In this case, the solid dot is at 1. So my y value is going to be your evaluation. Now f, as limit x approaching negative 3 from the left side. Negative 3 is right here. And if we reach from the left side, which is from this side, but not from here all the way down. So a lot of students get confused, but just a little bit from the left of negative 3. And this graph is going toward the value of negative 1. So therefore, it's from negative 3. This part is negative 3. It's going from negative 3 minus, so which is left side. But you don't go with here. You're just going to go with somewhere that's closer to negative 3 and approaching from that slowly. So if you're approaching that slowly, it's going to get you negative 1. And that's my answer, negative 1. The next one is the limit x approaching negative 3 from the positive side. Well, positive side is also from here, but not from anywhere here from the positive side. So a lot of students get confused, says, oh, negative 3 from the positive side, that means from the right, that means I'm going from this all the way here. No, it's you get confused because you got a lot of asymptotes and all the things. So you're gonna say approach to negative 3. I'm sorry, I think I make a mistake. So negative 6 is going to be negative 3. F of negative 6 is going to be 1. That's correct. Negative 3 from here, so it's going to be here. So it's negative 1, that's correct. But negative 3 from the positive side, that means I'm going from here and up. Because this is negative 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going from the right of negative 3 here, and I'm going to go toward that value. So it has nothing to do with here. It has this somewhat close to negative 3 and going toward negative 3 from the right. So in this case, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's negative 4. Now, I can also ask a question here. As I said, hey, what happened if the f of negative 3? Well, f of negative 3 basically just input versus output. So I'm going to write down the side. If I ask you f of negative 3, that's just going to be equal to negative 3. My output is not this open circle. My output is a closed circle, which is 2. So in case if I would have asked that question, that would get you 2. I didn't write down here, doesn't mean I don't ask. Now, what happened when limit x approaching negative 3? But if I just write a single number, you have to check from both ends. So you have to check from this end, from the left, and from the right. Are they equal to each other? If they're not equal to each other, does not exist. If they're equal to each other, that does exist. So in this case, one is reaching negative 1, one's reaching negative 4. Therefore, reaching x to the negative 3 does not exist. So I'm going to write down does not exist. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing from limit x approaching negative 1 from the left side. Negative 1 from the left side is going to go from here, and it's going to go down to the negative side. So if I reach down to the negative side here, then it's going to go very down below. Outside. Both of you guys, what did I say?
I want to bring something with me.
Max, I say go outside. Now.
I want to bring something.
Now.
Okay.
Devin.
Can you put Pikachu inside?
Okay.
Can I just put Pikachu right here?
Devin, what did I say? Can you guys follow directions?
Okay,
Can I
can you
watch
put
you
Pikachu
open it?
there?
Outside.
Okay.
Can I watch it right here?
Okay. Now, when limit x approaching negative 1 from the left side, so this one is from the left side, it's going to go down. So this is going to go down to negative infinity. So that's equal to negative infinity. Okay. From the negative 1 from the positive side, the function is also going down to negative infinity. So that's equal to negative infinity.
Okay.
Okay. So when limit x approaches -1 in this case, this function is going to go down, both going down, and they are matching. If they are matching, then it's going to go to -infinity as well. This actually -infinity, but sometimes they say does not exist, which is depend on the question. But both of them cannot coexist. Okay. So now we're gonna go to limit x approach to 2, but if I reach the single numbers, so that means you have to look at them from both sides.
Oh.
2 from the positive side and 2 from the left side. Okay,
Wow.
Devin, Max, if you guys gonna stay here, you cannot produce a sound.
I'm gonna do those now.
Okay, so this one, if we're approaching to 2, Devin, outside. Outside.
Okay.
Oh, my chair.
No. Both of you guys outside.
Okay.
Outside.
I want to look at the camera.
Outside. E.
Look at the camera.
R.
Okay.
When limit x approach to 2, 2 is right here, and 2 is right here, so it's reached 2. So you see that's a single number. It's not from the positive side, it's not from the left side, so you have to check from both ends. But if I reach from the positive side, it's going to go to -1. If I reach from the negative side, it's going to go to -3. So therefore, this does not exist. Okay. So now I'm going to say, well, I'm going to reach from the 2 from the positive side. So this is 2. From the positive side, that means I'm going from here, going toward 2. In this case, it's going to be -1. So my answer is going to be -1. Okay. So what is the f of 2? Well, f of 2 is input versus output. So what happens when x equal to 2? What is y value? Well, when the x equal to 2, the y value, the only one that existing is here, which is a -1. So I'm going to put down as a -1 here, and that's my answer. When limit x approaches from 4 from the positive side, well, 4 is right here. From the positive side, that means I'm going toward from here to here, which is in this case is -1. Outside. Limit x approaches to 4. Well, is 1, 2, 3, 4. But here, since it's reached one single number again, it's had to come from both sides. And if they come out 2 different values, for example, from the positive side to the 4, it's going to -1. From the negative side to the positive 4, it's going to 2. So therefore, they coming from 2 different values that does not exist. Now we're going to check what is f of 4. Input versus output here. So we're going to plug in 4 into these functions. But the output here is going to be -1 because it's not this open circle, it's this solid circle here. So it's going to be -1. Here, we're going to talk about r, which is limit x approaches 6. Again, 6 is there's not from both sides. It's not from positive or negative, so you need to check from both sides. But in this case, it's kind of weird because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is right here. If they're coming from both sides, they come into this open circle. Has nothing to do with the solid dot. This is input versus output. Here it's going to reach to this value, which is -2. So they both reach the same value. Therefore, in this case, does exist. Unlike this one, unlike this one, so it does exist. So in this case, not only it exists, has a value of -2. Limit as x approach to 8. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And since it's only reached 8, so you have to check from both ends. But if you reach from the left side, it's going to be -1. if you reach from the positive side, it's going to be -3. So therefore, in this case, since the 8 is not from one side, you have to check from both sides. In this case, does not exist because if you check both values, if you say, okay, well, limit x approach to 8 from the left side, if from the left side, it's going to give you -1, and limit x approach to 8 from the positive side of f of x, that's equal to -3. So therefore, it does not exist. Okay. So f of 8 is here. Again, you're looking at for the closed circle. If f of 8 here, this is 8, the closed circle is going to be -1. So the answer is equal to -1. I'm almost finished here. Again, there's a lot of repetitive thing. Hopefully you guys understand the idea. I said don't touch it.
Okay.
Did I say the... So the last two questions. We have limit x approach to positive infinity. And if I reach to positive infinity of f of x, now this one just going, what happened when x go into infinity? It's eventually going toward a value. This is called horizontal asymptote. A horizontal asymptote is the value is going to plateau, and then here it's going to be plateau is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's going to go into -5. If I reach from the negative infinity, that means I'm going to look at the function all the way to the left. So if I look at all the way to the left, and the x value going to negative infinity, that's coming from below here and going up, but it's plateau into a value. A plateau into a value, that value is going to be -3. And that'll be out. Okay. You want to say hi to the camera?
I can't turn.
You have to stay in front of the camera. You have to stand here.
Why?
You really want to be in here? Then you're going to get in the camera. No, I don't see you. You got to go to here. You got to go to the middle here. You got to stand here. Sit here. You want to be in the camera? There you go. There's you in the camera. Happy? Okay. Keep on disrupting. This is the guy that's disrupting our lesson. You are in trouble. Okay, bye.